News. 24 hours. News Mississippi.
For News Mississippi, I'm Courtney Carter, and this is the weekly rundown. Now, we cannot talk about the top stories of the week without bringing up the directive that came from the Department of Justice and President Obama telling public schools that they should allow transgendered students to choose the bathroom that aligns with their sexual identity, saying that these students are often bullied and that we shouldn't allow discrimination towards them. However, this started a fire in Mississippi of how this would be handled. Now, initially, the Mississippi Department of Education State Superintendent Dr. Carrie Wright said that she would go along with the directive. However, Governor Bryant released a statement that the Mississippi Department of Education should ignore the directive and that Mississippi's not going to go along with some social experiment. Now, on top of that, 11 representatives, 27 senators wrote a letter to Dr. Carrie Wright saying that if she was going to go along with the directive, then she needed to step down from her job because she didn't represent the values of Mississippians. Now, not too long after that, Dr. Wright said that she was not going to follow the directive, that however she was going to align herself with the values of the state and that she would not be telling schools how they should handle this situation. Now, on top of having these letters from the MDE, from the senators, the statement from the governor, we also got your reactions, and you can check that out on the News Mississippi app, and also you can see those letters and statements as they were spelled out. We have all that for you there. Now, moving on, speaking of education, Governor Phil Bryant vetoing a bill that would allow for pay raises for teachers and faculty in the public school system. He vetoed that bill because he said that they were a little too free with how they give out their raises. Now, of course, Dr. Carrie Wright, the superintendent, she came out and she said that that money was needed to bring in competitive teachers, to be able to compete with other states, to bring in people who could handle Mississippi's education problem a little bit better. Now, another top story that we covered this week. Unfortunately, we shouldn't have to cover this one, but we did. Sex trafficking in Mississippi. Now, 80% of sex trafficking victims are women. 50% of those are underage. They're minors, they're kids. And believe it or not, this happens in Mississippi. If you were to follow a map that showed the interstates and highways in the state, you would see the hot spots of where sex trafficking activity is. Now, I sat down with Paul Gallo and with Sheriff Randy Tucker, and we discussed the problem and why it's growing in Mississippi. You can find that on the News Mississippi app or online at newsms.fm. Now to something a little bit more lighter. Maybe you're ready to just blow off some steam for the weekend. We have the Weekender up, and that lets you know what's going on around the state. Festivals, food, even a hot dog eating contest. You can get in on that. And also tips for a staycation. Maybe you need a break, but you don't have the buck to back it up. We've got plenty of tips. Sarah Ulmer did that this week, and she will let you know what's going on the Mississippi Gulf Coast that you can indulge in without breaking the bank. For News Mississippi, I'm Courtney Carter, and this has been The Rundown.